California. As we said earlier, we'll be chatting with members of Congress throughout the morning, getting their reaction to this announcement from President Biden yesterday on sending these tanks to Ukraine. And our first member of Congress joining us, Senator Mike Rounds, Republican of South Dakota, member of both the Armed Services Committee and the Foreign Relations Committee. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
I want to get your thoughts just on the final thoughts of that last caller there saying Russia's not our enemy. How would you react to a statement like that?
Well, I think I would disagree with that. I do think that Russia is a threat right now. They're a threat to our allies in Europe. Most certainly they have been a challenger to us in the past. They have been on the other side of the issues, whether it was looking at what's going on in the Middle East, or for that matter, what's going on in Europe right now. You have a Russia which has just simply decided that they would rather take more of an aggressive tone in terms of looking at aggressively going into Ukraine to begin with. And there seems to be an understanding there that somehow they felt that Ukraine wanted them to come in, which clearly is not the case. But they're the aggressor. And this is not a case of where Ukraine was attacking Russia. This is a case of where Ukraine was attacked by Russia, and it's Russian forces that are in Ukraine. You haven't seen Ukrainians in Russia. So in this particular case, and the one that we're focused on right now, this is a case of stopping Russian aggression right next to NATO countries. And our concern is that right now we don't have any men and women in uniform that are standing on the front lines in Ukraine. We don't want that to happen. If Russia were to aggressively go after one of the neighbors of Ukraine, then you would find with an Article 5 pact in NATO that we would be in the middle of the battle. We don't want our young men and women over there. And if Ukraine wants to fight this, and we think they do, and they've got the desire and the heart to do so to defend their homeland, then we should do everything we can to provide them with the appropriate weapon systems so that they can fend off Russia, who has taken a very aggressive stance.
Is the M1 Abrams tank the appropriate weapon system to provide right now? Will it make a difference on the battlefield?
It is one part of a battle group. I think the Strykers and the Bradleys will probably be more effective earlier, but clearly the Abrams were the key to bringing on the Brits and the Germans, and the Germans authorizing others to allow for their main battle tanks to be used as well. So the Abrams may not be as many in number as some of the others will eventually be, but most certainly they will be welcome. It takes time to train on the Abrams. They're a more complicated piece of machinery. The weapon system is not designed to fight, where they're in one spot and dug in. The Abrams tank is an attack weapon. It's designed to go in and clean things up. And so the Ukrainians will have to learn the appropriate tactics to be used with the Abrams, but it's a very effective weapon when used correctly.
The wheeled Strykers, the tracked Bradleys, other armored vehicles that the U.S. is providing Ukraine, are there other weapon systems that we're not providing right now that you think we should be providing?
Well, to begin with, I think one of the most important parts is that we not only provide the weapon systems, but the appropriate training so that they're used effectively. And in that respect, I think we're moving in the right direction. I wish we would have moved a little bit more quickly with the delivery of some of the systems. But let's start out with, they do need to have air protection, and they will eventually have to have some aggressive air attack capabilities. So I think you're going to see the Ukrainians asking for, whether it be helicopters or whether it be for some aircraft, at the appropriate time, that would be okay as well. They've also got weapon systems right now that can be used, but they're going to need the actual weapons that are attached to the platforms themselves. And I think we can help them in that regard when the time is right, but the training has got to come with it. So it's a matter of combining not just the weapon system that you want to deliver, it's providing them the intel and the capabilities and the training to do it correctly so that those systems are effective and that they can actually break the stalemate which is occurring in some parts of that country right now.
What's the limit of U.S. support for you? What's the line? Is there a financial line? Is there some other line for you?
The one thing that I think we should always try to do is not set red lines for ourselves. We want Russia to understand that we're in this to have Ukraine win, and that the sooner they understand that and the sooner they start looking at some sort of an appropriate solution that's acceptable to both countries, the better off the world's going to be and the better off Russia's going to be long term. Most wars do not end in a decisive victory. Most wars end when diplomats come together and find an appropriate ending, and that's still a possibility here. But I think Russia is going to have to respect the fact that Ukraine is a country by itself and should not be subject to Russian aggression now or in the future.
And then, Senator, before you go, I know you had a busy day on Capitol Hill. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee, of which you're a member of, a hearing on countering Russian aggression, hearing from State Department, Defense Department officials testifying before your committee today. What are you going to be asking about? What do you want to know?
Well, to begin with, it will be a matter of what is the most effective approach that we can take to find a positive outcome to this war that's going on right now. What will the end look like? What can we do to bring it about? And how can we be most effective in assisting our Ukrainian friends as they fight for the freedom within their country?
Senator Mike Rounds, Republican of South Dakota. Already a busy day on Capitol Hill. You can hear it behind him there. Thanks so much for stopping by our cameras and chatting with us this morning.
Thank you.